Space and space exploration have always been popular. However, in the recent years they have become even more as private companies are taking over the roles of traditional governmental agencies. We all want to see people in space, landing on the moon, exploring Mars, and even going where nobody has gone before. But the question is why? Why are we sending people to space? Is that purely for scientific reasons, or are there any other reasons? Hi, my name is Eitan. I'm a creative technologist from Berlin, and this is a first video of a series where I'm going to explore different subjects which I find interesting, especially where technology meets philosophy and industry meets art. In this video, I'm going to talk about the subject of humans in space. I'm going to ask some questions, I'm going to raise some ideas, and if you find it fascinating the same way that I do, you're welcome to stay, while I'll try not to make a mess out of the entire things. Because I'm a... It's hard to believe, but humans have been to space for over 70 years now. It all began when the Americans and the Russians were competing each other, who has the biggest rocket and who can go deepest into space, obviously. The Russians started with the Sputnik, which was the first artificial satellite, and then the dog, Laika, and the first astronaut. The Americans continued from there, and at the end of the day had, as we know, as some of us believe, humans on the surface of the moon. The question is, why are we sending people to space? Obviously, it is very inspiring, but it is also very, very costly. To keep humans alive in space, the amount of resources needed to do this job could be potentially divided into many uncrewed spacecrafts that could be sent to different planets and give us a lot of information. Another thing is the rise of the AI, artificial intelligence. This artificial intelligence allows uncrewed spacecrafts to perform very complicated tasks without human intervention and send us a great amount of valuable information without any human intervention. The futurist Ray Kurzweil offered a very interesting hypothesis. He suggested that potential very advanced alien civilizations could send small spacecrafts and scrutinize different planets in the universe. Now, this goes against the popular depiction of aliens where they come with large flying saucers and landing in some rural area and checking the planet. Since those civilizations are so advanced, they could basically send maybe millions of tiny, very smart, very powerful spacecrafts. That means that we potentially could be under surveillance of alien life forms for who knows how long, and we are not even aware of this. Those spacecrafts, which are obviously fully autonomous and sending the data directly to those aliens wherever they exist, they could be as small as a virus, or who knows, even smaller than that. Now, I'm going back to my first question. Why are we sending humans to space? I think there's a very good reason for that. And the roots for this reason have actually nothing to do with space, and they're quite old. In the 1950s, with the introduction of the jet engine, new airlines started to take the role of transporting people from one place to another on the globe. This thing took away the passengers from the shipping industry. Since then, the shipping industry, which lost passengers, focused on delivering heavy goods around the world, and something new that came from this thing, which is the cruise ship. Unlike the passengers ship, the cruise ship is not as fast, it's way bigger, and it's even more luxurious, because their job now is not to deliver passengers, but giving the best experience of sailing the high seas. So, if you manage to follow my train of thoughts, you understand that I'm talking about a space cruise ship. In the early days, the creators of science fiction introduced artificial gravity to spaceships. That makes everything much more Earth-like instead of space-like. Now, artificial gravity poses two main problems. The first, you have to create it and you have to think how to create it. And another thing, it actually takes one of the major aspects of experiencing life in space, and that is the lack of gravity. Now, I believe that many of the passengers of the future that would like to go on space trip would do it mainly because they would like to experience the lack of gravity. Our new space cruise ship will probably look way different than the International Spaceship. It will have to be way bigger, much more luxurious, and way more aesthetic. And the main reason is because probably most of its passengers would go there in order to have good time and not for scientific reasons. With your permission, I would like to focus on the bar of the ship. The bar is the place where all the visitors can meet each other, have a nice drink, enjoy themselves. Imagine watching the sun rising over Mars while drinking a glass of Cabernet Sauvignon. Or imagine watching the flickering light of the cities on the dark side of our planet while drinking a nice glass of Pinot Noir. Sophisticated. Bars, as we know them today, either in a city or on a cruise ship, are still limited by the gravity. This gravity helps to keep the drinks inside the glasses, and it also makes sure that if we drink too much, we fall on the floor. The bar on our spaceship will have no gravity, and therefore it will also have no up and down. That means that its shape could be way more elaborated. It might be spherical, it might be a cylindrical shape. Basically, the limit is only our imagination. How funny would it be to lose orientation because of the alcohol and the lack of up and down? Amazing! One exception though, and that's scientifically proven, the CO2 bubbles inside a glass of a Guinness beer actually defy gravity even on Earth. But wait, glasses. How would they keep the liquid inside them without gravity? Fortunately, this is something that has been already addressed by NASA, and they have already designed a special cup for using in space, which uses the capillary effect of liquids. Another option would be to use a glass that resembles a honey dipper. A wine glass shaped like a honey dipper would also use the same effect of the surface tension of liquid, but it will have another advantage. It will actually expose a lot of this liquid to the oxygen in the air, and therefore will be very beneficial for the taste of the wine. What about sitting places? That's an interesting subject because actually chairs as we know them would probably not exist on space, but there is something interesting that I would still like to approach. On our planet, we have only one axis where we can rotate the chairs. But in space, we could take this idea of 90 degrees and take it to the next level by introducing two more axes, the X and the Y. Psychologists found out that people who sit in 90 degrees next to each other instead of opposing each other would feel much more comfortable to open up. How would a bar in space could utilize the extra freedom that is given by the lack of gravity to help people to interact more freely, to be more friendly and feel less anxious? Thank you for watching my first video. I hope you enjoyed. What do you think? Would you go to a space cruise ship? What kind of activities do you think you would do completely different with a lack of gravity than you can do it on Earth. How do you think this spaceship would look like? I'm very curious to read your comments. Thank you and see you on the next video. Bye bye.